Well, it's time for Nebraska as we get into the Big Ten preseason previews and predictions, I suppose. Week number one, Cincinnati and the Nebraska Cornhuskers go to Arrowhead Stadium, where Cincinnati is considered the home team. Weirdly enough, I don't know, maybe they're about the same distance, but that's how it is. So Cincinnati's home team, Nebraska is away, and I immediately thought, you know what? Nebraska's not good with big hype games. You saw how they plundered last year at Illinois. Even though it's a neutral site, I still think Nebraska gets the loss here because of the pressure and the hype. Is it a coin flip? Yeah, I'm sure that if they played two different games at the same place, but I'm picking Nebraska with the loss here. There's a little bit of bias there because Nebraska has struggled in the last 10 years in the Big Ten. So I'm giving Cincinnati some love. And I don't know what there would be to say that Nebraska is a guaranteed lock in this game. Welcome, Jordan from the Inside Sports Podcast. What is your take on week number one, the most important week for them?
Well, like you mentioned, I think we thought a lot of us thought all offseason, oh, this game's in Cincinnati. This is a classic Nebraska spot to lose. We're going to outnumber the UC fans, probably 80 to 20, if I'm being honest. So for that reason, and it's year three, Matt Rule. He has a history of being great. You saw him at year three in Baylor,
Yeah.
year three in Temple. For some reason, this year is always when he turns it on. So I'm going to go Nebraska.
I can't necessarily disagree, like, but here's the thing. It's Nebraska and it's Big Ten football. This is his first time coaching in Big Ten that I know of. So especially as a head coach. So I gotta go with Nebraska here. My gut tells me to go with Nebraska, and that's why I'm picking them. So we have two different thoughts here, but we'll see. We'll see. Would you be surprised if Cincinnati won? I guess that's the better question.
No,
Okay.
no. Only because it's Nebraska. But I
Right.
don't think there are too many football reasons you can give as to why Cincinnati would win. It's merely a reputation kind of game if they lose it.
Well, for sure. Cincinnati is terrible
Yeah.
last year, so um, I should probably lean towards Nebraska, but I'm picking Cincinnati just because. So, week number two, they play the other team from Ohio, one of many from there, Akron. This is, matter of fact, let's just lump Akron and Houston Christian in the same. I think
Yeah.
Nebraska gets the win in both. They're both home games. Then we go into week four where it's Michigan. And I love college football for this very reason. Like, actually, it might be the biggest reason I like college football is because there's a whole fan base that is, I mean, it's one thing to be biased. You know, if I'm from California and I like the Lakers, I think the Lakers are going to win every game because in the NBA, the Lakers are a blue blood team who's awesome, and but those fans are delusional, and they think that they should win the championship every year. Nebraska fans are the same way. They believe that they are the best team in college football before every year starts, and they get smacked across the face after like week five. And I think that with all of that said, Michigan fans are the same way. You've got two delusional fan bases coming in. Michigan probably more delusional. So if you're a Wolverine fan and you're watching this, you understand exactly what I'm talking about last year. So I think Nebraska is the team with a better foundation in 2025, and that's why they get the win.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about that foundation. Michigan won't even have their head coach for this game. We were talking about before we started recording. Michigan won't have their head coach. He's suspended for this game. Can't imagine why. And talk a little bit more into that foundation on the Nebraska side of things. They're bringing back their quarterback. They're bringing back their running back. They're bringing back pretty much everybody on defense. If you thought Illinois was bringing back everybody, go ahead and look at Nebraska's depth chart. They're bringing back, I think, 8 of 11 starters on defense, and the only transfers and new guys are guys that are just filling in smaller holes. Like Illinois had to replace their entire defensive line outside of maybe the edge rusher position with transfers. Nebraska's not having to do that. They brought Desan McCullough as an edge rusher. New D tackle, but he won't even be a starter. He'll be a backup. I think he was Mizzou's highest rated recruit ever. His name's Williams Nwaneri. I think I may have butchered that, but their defense is going to be really, really, really good. And one thing people aren't talking about much with the Michigan thing, and we'll talk about this in a later video as well. And let's just say Bryce Underwood is good, which he probably will be. I mean, if you're rated that high, it's not for no reason.
Yeah,
Who exactly is he throwing to this year?
that's a good point. That's a very good
Like,
point.
who is he throwing to? Now, their running backs I think are pretty good, but I don't think he's gonna be able to throw to any. Like, who is he going to throw to? I don't know. There's too much unknown there, so I'm going to give Nebraska the win here. I think they'll be hyped up. This is their first big game. They don't have a bad letdown spot after this week. I don't think, at least. So I think they're going to be revved up and ready to go. I'll take the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I take Nebraska too. As much crap as I just talked about them versus Cincinnati. If the Cincinnati game was at home, I think Nebraska, like at Nebraska, I think they get the win. But Michigan at Nebraska, as bad as Michigan has been, and as bad as they probably will be. And by the way, we just learned a few days ago there's new information coming out about the scandal, and that could affect Michigan completely. You never know. So, big smiles from you. Michigan State at Nebraska is the next game. So, Michigan State struggling to the point where they need a
Yeah,
new football everything. So I
yeah,
think Nebraska gets the win here easily. That's good for Nebraska.
yeah. It's funny to think when I first started watching college football, the way I hate Michigan now, it used to be Michigan State, with how annoying those
Right,
teams were.
right,
But
right, right.
we are a long way away from that, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, they're. I mean, Mark D'Antonio left that place, it, you know,
that
pretty
that
badly,
that to me
and Mel
that's a good
Tucker.
point. I think that when D'Antonio left, that ruined the program. But there was also some off of the field stuff
Yeah,
that really sunk them.
and then Mel Tucker takes over. They have that great 2021 season, and then well, you all know what happened.
Yeah,
So I mean,
scandal.
Jonathan Smith
It was
taking over. I
scandalous.
think it'll get very scandalous. I think it'll end up working out for Jonathan Smith at Michigan State eventually, just not right now. And just to let everybody know real quick, because I mentioned it during the Michigan game, they have a bye in between the Michigan and Michigan State game. So for all intents and purposes, they could go all in on the Michigan game, and they have a full week plus to recover
Sure,
and recoup.
sure.
So I'm
No,
not
no
worried
matter
about
what happens.
a
Yeah,
letdown spot. Yeah, I'm not worried about a letdown
yeah.
spot here.
And so Nebraska's got a pretty cake schedule in the beginning. I think it gets tougher in the end of the season for them. They go to Maryland, but Maryland is a team that Nebraska can beat. So I've got Nebraska getting the win here as well.
Yeah, Maryland's gonna be a bottom tier Big Ten team. I have no doubts about that.
Yeah, bottom five for sure. I'm gonna go. I mean, I've said that before about teams.
Yeah. So
Um,
you've got Nebraska 5-1 right now.
yeah,
5-1. I've got them 6-0.
yeah.
Which if they start 6-0, you're gonna start hearing some crazy things from their
That's
fans.
that,
But
that's the
or even 5-1,
that's
honestly.
that's the thing about it, is that if they
Yeah.
do go 6-0, I mean, they can easily beat Cincinnati, but they can also
Yeah.
lose to them easily. It's a trap game for them. That's what I'm saying. Then
Yeah.
you have Nebraska at Minnesota, so I think they get the win there. This may actually be like, if they are, let's say that Nebraska is 5-1, 6-0, which they should be, and they go play Minnesota, they're going to be top 25 for sure by this time. I mean,
Oh yeah.
if they're 6 and
Top
0.
20 probably.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
they're 6
Maybe
and
even top
0,
15.
yeah. But 5-1, if they beat Minnesota, they might sneak back up in there. I'm going to say they get the win at Minnesota. Minnesota's going to have a down year again. Uh, I just don't see PJ Fleck working out there long term. If he hasn't done it by now, it's been what, 4 years, 5 years, maybe even six.
Yeah.
I think that it's he might be good like a Pat Fitzgerald, but I don't think he's going to end up being like a main thing in the Big Ten. So I've got them winning at Minnesota. Minnesota is an easy place to play. It's not very difficult as far as 12th man stuff goes.
Here's the thing. I actually disagree with you on that, and I'm actually going to take Minnesota to win this game. Listen, again, people were talking about Illinois as like the offseason darling, and oh my goodness, look at their easy schedule. Well, we've already gone over their schedule, and neither of us think it's as easy as people are saying it is.
No.
And they have a lot of tough games, right? You look at this Nebraska schedule. There's one obvious tough game at the very, very end, and we'll get to that. To me, this is the second toughest game on their schedule right here at Minnesota. I'm actually pretty high on the Gophers. And so, because of this, I'm actually going to take the Gophers to win this game. It's a Friday night
Yeah,
on the
those games are
road, and
tricky.
Minnesota, 100%. And Minnesota was very, very underrated last year. I think. I guess the only thing with Minnesota, the only thing that's making me hesitate about Minnesota is they're bringing in a new quarterback. It's going to be a redshirt freshman, but again, because I gave Nebraska the win over Cincinnati, I feel like I kind of have to do this. And again, I think Minnesota's pretty underrated. So give
Mhm.
me the Gophers.
Okay, so you're calling the upset. I like upset picks. One of us is going to win. But I think Nebraska can. My point is that by this time they're 5-1 or 6-0 on
Yeah,
paper, so they should easily win this game against Minnesota. Now, again, like I said in my original preview for Nebraska, Minnesota's some giant killers. They have beat some
yeah,
good teams in the Big Ten, and they've been in the Big Ten for a long, long time. They know what's up. The program's a good program, but
and yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just don't see Minnesota winning against a 5-1. I mean, think about the momentum. They have no momentum going into week 1. They have some momentum playing their 6th or 7th game.
Here's the thing: Minnesota. This is my first look at their schedule. They're going to be minimum 4-2 heading into this game.
Yeah, the teams they play for
They only play Ohio. They play at Cal, which I don't really know what Cal's going to be. That's complete 50-50 ball to me. And then they play at Ohio State. So I think at worst, they could easily be 5-1, and at worst I think they're 4-2 heading into this game. So
okay.
watch out for the Gophers. Watch out for the
Hey,
Gophers.
these games right here. Honestly, they're the toughest games to pick. The easier ones, like
Yeah,
Ohio State at you know say Penn State or something. It's like okay,
yeah,
we know that that's a 50-50 for sure. But these games
sure.
here, they'll either end up like Minnesota will beat Nebraska like 41-20, or it's tough,
Yeah,
and I like watching them. Let's go on to the next game where, of course, I am completely biased, but I believe this year, just because of historical concepts, how Northwestern has a new coach, and then the next year or two, they do really well in the Big Ten. We've seen it with the last 4 coaches that they've had, going clear back to 1995. This is David Braun's third year. Really, as head coach. But as far as him being in the program, David Braun was around a year before then, and he has been able to work with these players. Everybody, pretty much everybody that's on the field, David Braun has been there since they've been there. And we saw some gel last year from that Northwestern team, and I predict that they're going to be pretty good. I think at least 8-4, 7-5 this year, which is good for Northwestern. You get my drift? Uh, so, so I mean, maybe even better. But I think that because if you look at their schedule, it's really they've only got 2 games that they need to win to get there, um, and this is one of those games where Northwestern and Nebraska look at their history. It's about every other year, and sometimes it's Northwestern, Northwestern, Northwestern. You can wrap it off. So I think Nebraska gets. This is going to be their upset game, and actually, if Minnesota beats them, it may actually work well for Northwestern. So those are my thoughts. What are yours? That's okay.
you were talking about some games being 50-50 and some games being easy. This is an easy one for me.
You don't believe this is
Nebraska,
a 50-50 game for Nebraska? Okay.
not even close.
I will clip that and use it in the fall.
Please do, please do.
Well, who would you rather see win here? Do you want Nebraska to be good, or do you want to see them, like, honestly, getting into the soul
I mean,
here?
if they're, I mean, given the way that I have their schedule going, if they're 6-1 here, I'd like to see them win. Yeah,
Okay. It would fare better for when they play the bigger teams.
Yeah.
Nebraska at UCLA. UCLA, uh,
Wait, did you skip it? I think you skipped a game.
or I meant to say USC. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they stay in California for the next, or not, they'll stay in California, but they play another California team. Uh, I would say that USC gets the win here. USC at Nebraska.
So to me, USC and Nebraska, not like from a stylistic standpoint, but from a reputation standpoint, from a has-been standpoint, from a program power standpoint, are the exact same school in my mind. And so they're the two biggest wild card teams of this season. I mean, we're either talking college football playoff or 6-6, right? I could see either result happening. I trust Nebraska's infrastructure more. I trust Matt Rule more than Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley has not shown that he gives a crap about the other side of the ball ever since he's been a head coach. Even when they were at Oklahoma making the playoffs, their defense were terrible.
Yeah, you know what? You're making a good point. I agree with you. I think Matt Rule is the better coach, and I think they do get the win here.
Huskers, and finally, Huskers are at home.
Yeah.
Now again, it's not like they haven't lost games at home in the past. I'm not. I'm making a big deal out of it because they do get a lot of big games at home this year. I think I think we're going to start to see something change here. I'm on the complete other side of Nebraska than I am Illinois. I think people are saying things about Illinois that I just don't think are correct, and I'm on the complete other side with the Cornhuskers. I like the Cornhuskers to win this game and improve to 8-1. Ugh, 8-1 on the season.
Yeah. See, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're giving them lots of love. And then so we both agree they're going to beat USC. What about UCLA? I think UCLA is the worst team here on paper. Um, I don't think they can be a dark horse, so I'm giving Nebraska the win at UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, just out of principle, because screw Nico Yamaleva, screwed over Tennessee.
But if they,
Um,
I mean, here's the thing:
he's
if they come around week 3 or 4, and he starts, I don't know. I mean, we would have
things
to
could get bad.
we would have to see
Go ahead,
another
sorry.
version of him in order for him to be competitive. Because honestly, at Tennessee, as big as their following is, they struggled. Oh, they're kind of the Nebraska, I guess. With a few more wins than Nebraska. But we'll see if Tennessee's ex quarterback can make any progress there. It could be one where he starts a couple of weeks, and if UCLA loses, he's like, I'm out with the
Yeah,
NIL
he's a
money.
scumbag.
So
He's a
I think
scumbag.
Nebraska gets the win at UCLA, and then I think they lose the next two, which is Nebraska at Penn State, and then Iowa at Nebraska. And as I've mentioned before, that it's rivalry games are different. They just are different. Rivalry games are one of those things that no matter who you are and what you are at that time, it doesn't matter because today's the day for the other team to feel the same way. And I think, we saw it in last year's game. Nebraska couldn't pull through. Now this one's at Nebraska, but maybe Iowa's going to have a good season this year, and if they're on a downward path at the end of the season, like I think they are, they're just going to tuck tail and run because Nebraska tends to have this mentality of if we don't make the playoffs, then we just don't care, and their fans are that way too. I used to know a guy named Greg, and he was a Cornhusker. He had the same hat for like 20 years that he'd never thrown away. And before every game, it was like, oh, let's go, let's go, let's go. Quarter number two, give me another drink, and he'd throw his hat down, and I'm like, dude, how can you live that way? Why can't you just live in reality? And I think the reality of the Iowa Nebraska game is that Iowa generally has more grit than Nebraska, and I think Iowa gets the win here.
I'm gonna give him the loss at Penn State. I do agree with that. Which, by the way, I have the ESPN schedule pulled up. Tickets for that game are really cheap, and I think it's going to end up being a
Really,
really big game. I think they're
Nebraska
going to be
at
nine
Penn
and
State.
one. So we're talking potential game of the week stuff here, just with the way that I have Nebraska's season going. So That's pretty good. That's a pretty good deal. Anyway,
Hmm.
Penn State's going to win that game, and then the Iowa one, right? I mean, listen, Nebraska's been close to beating Iowa seemingly every single year. I did look it
Sure.
up. Iowa's won 9 of the last 10
That's
in this
amazing.
series,
It's amazing.
but I feel like in 7 of those 10, Nebraska was leading heading into the fourth quarter. And I think this is probably going to end up being the best Nebraska team from that bunch. I think this is Kirk Ferentz's last year as well. I just don't.
I've been saying that
If
for the
I'm an
last five
Iowa
years.
fan, I know, but if I'm an Iowa fan, like there's no Big Ten West anymore, so you can't just be the best of 7 teams and make the Big Ten championship and it's all in good. Like
Yeah.
teams like this are going to
I miss
have to
those
change
days.
their ways. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like teams are going to have to teams like Big Ten West teams that were just banking on being the
Yeah.
best of that group
Had
are
to
going to have to
had to
start
beat
changing their
Wisconsin, had
ways.
to beat Northwestern, had to beat Iowa, had to beat Nebraska. Yeah.
Exactly. And so you're going to have to start changing your ways. You're going to have to start playing, championship football. And so I think Iowa will finally make that change after this season. He's not
Hmm.
going to get fired before the end of the year because
Because he's Kirk Ferentz. Yeah.
he's Kirk Ferentz. He's an absolute
20,
legend. I'm not saying he's not a
almost 30
legend.
years head coach. Yeah.
Most tenured coach in college football right now.
Probably. Yeah, I think
But
so.
I do think Nebraska is
But not the
finally going to
most
break through.
winningest coach.
Not the
So,
most winningest,
yeah.
but
But he's good for that
I think
program.
he's. Yes, I do think though. I heard someone say a couple weeks ago that he needs one or two Big Ten wins to become the winningest coach in Big Ten
Wow.
history. Either,
That would be awesome.
oh, it's Woody Hayes. I think it's Woody Hayes. He needs, I think, it's either 2 wins overall or 2 wins in conference
Yeah.
to become the winningest coach in Big Ten conference or Big Ten history, whatever the case may
That's
be.
pretty cool.
Just to show you how long he's been coaching,
Yeah.
right? I mean, Woody Hayes coached Ohio State for 28
But
seasons,
if
I
you're
think.
if you're a betting man, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm going to. If you're a betting person in Iowa, no matter how their season's gone, in Nebraska, no matter how their season's gone, if a team has a 90% historical win ratio, why
Well, it's
wouldn't you
not.
in the last
It's
10
well,
years?
it's that's well, and I understand that, but sometimes you know, I mean, things change though.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the year where the tide finally turns the other way. Kirk Ferentz leaves, Iowa's culture changes. They start having some down years, and listen, I think if I'm Iowa, I'll take those down years because I think getting a new guy in there, a more modern style coach, will help you in the long run. But you might go through some tough years early on. So anyway,
Yeah.
this is not the Iowa show, but
Right.
it's because of that reason that I think Nebraska is going to finally break through. They're at home. I think they're going to get the win over Iowa.
What's a very important for this is a Nebraska show, and this is like the Michigan versus Ohio State rivalry, where it all if you're having a bad year, like I predict Nebraska will have a bad year compared to where people think they should be. Um, yeah, I think Iowa gets the win here because it's just a nitty gritty rivalry game, and Nebraska's not a. We used to think about that 20 years ago. Nebraska was smash mouth football if there ever was any, but it hasn't been that way, and especially since they've been a part of the Big Ten. And I foresee Iowa winning. So you're going to say Nebraska gets the win. So what's your overall record for Nebraska?
I mean,
10 and
it doesn't
2?
seem it. Yeah, 10-2, and I don't feel good
Ah, I
about
wouldn't
that. But
either.
again, I mean, if we're doing it game by
That's
game, I mean,
true.
that's just kind of how I
That's
feel
true.
like it's gonna go. So I will say this: I did get a chance to experience the Nebraska Iowa rivalry last year firsthand. Those two teams, fan bases despise each other
Sure they do.
with the force of 1,000 suns, and it was awesome. And especially with the way that game ended, with Iowa hitting the game-winning field goal, unbelievable experience. And I'm very happy I got to do that. So shout out to both fan bases. They're both incredibly passionate. They hate each other. It's awesome. So if anyone gets a chance to go and see that, do yourself a favor.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Well, hey, we'll see you at the next preview deep dive. This Sea Crew Sports. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.